Hi, my name is David Whaley, and I'm the creator of The First Tree. I also voice a character named Joseph. So I just wanted to introduce you to this commentary mode, tell you that you can find interesting things about how I made this game by touching the speech bubbles you see in the world. So I hope you enjoy it.
Are you awake? I thought I heard you get up.
Yeah, I'm awake. Sorry, I just can't sleep.
Are you thinking about him?
Yeah, a bit. Usually get back to sleep, my love. I'm fine.
No, it's okay. What else is on your mind?
I don't know. It seems weird, but I had one of the most vivid dreams of my life. I saw a fox on a snowy mountain, just looking confused and worried. Those eyes. I can't get those eyes out of my head. She was running in the windy snow, looking for something.
Do you think it has to do with you and what's been going on?
I don't know. It was just a dream, Rachel. They're not meant to make sense. A lot's happened the past couple days, that's all.
Well, if you're not going to sleep anyway, you should tell me. I want to hear.
All right. So it's usually at this point where people say something like, this is not the kind of game I was expecting. And that happened a lot at PAX West when I showed it. We'd have little kids play it, but then they see a dead fox cub, or a kit is technically the word, but cub sounds, I don't know, it sounds better. Like Wes Anderson uses it in Fantastic Mr. Fox, so I thought cub would be alright. But anyway, having this game, I wanted it to be more serious. This game is based on dealing with the death of my father, which was the hardest thing that's ever happened to me and my family. But I don't want to talk about it here, and I didn't want to talk about it with anybody really to this day still. It's very personal. And that's why I made this game. That's exactly the reason. Because I wanted to get those feelings out and communicate with people without talking about it. And so that's what The First Tree is. It's me dealing with my feelings, and it was a personal project, and it was just me, and it actually, I'm really glad I made it, but it wasn't easy to make, I guess is what I'm saying.
わからない。なんて言ってるんだ。あ、ちょっと待って。
So, not far from her home, she followed that path to something unexpected. She couldn't stay, though. She had to find her other 2 children. So she took that path. She followed it towards something ancient. Something with answers. The fox looked high and low, searching for any sign of her cubs. Points of light showed the way to this ancient tree. It was as if each one had a story to tell, all their own. The land was trying to tell my story, too. I felt like I was right behind her the whole time. The bunnies were added because my wife, Elise, who also voices Rachel in the game, who's also helped a ton to make the game, as we were playing, she just said the world felt kind of empty and not alive enough. So I knew we needed to add some kind of life, and so the bunnies was like the first idea that came to mind. And like most of the game, I used like publicly available assets to speed up production because I was working full-time along with making this game, and we just had our first baby, a little girl named Evelyn. So I was messing with this asset called Herd Sim, and at one point, like the generation script that creates variations of the sizes of the bunny. One time I got out of control and it made like this monster bunny that towered over everybody. And I shared that GIF on Imager and Reddit, and that was a huge hit. It helped definitely gain an audience for this game. But it's hard because this game is like so serious. It's about life and death, not giant bunnies. But I knew I needed something, like a shout out to that, because it was pretty fun. So if you're able to catch all the bunnies on this map, I think there's around 13, then you'll get a special surprise. So good luck. As a kid, did you ever do show and tell in your class?
Yeah, I think I only did it once, when I was in the 4th grade. You know how my life was around then. I wanted to show my class what helped pass the time and distracted me, so I brought a dozen paper cranes I had made. I think I told everyone how badly I wanted to be a bird and fly, embarrassingly enough.
Don't be embarrassed. Every kid wants to fly. For me, it was another toy from my dad, a wooden boat. I remember guarding it so carefully in my hands as I walked into class. When I sat down, a group of boys immediately made fun of it. They asked which trash can I found it in, or why an ugly log was my favorite toy. When I got up, I didn't even want to tell them my dad had carved it. I said it was a joke gift my friend had given me.
Kids can be so cruel.
Some of them are. I shouldn't have let them get to me, but it did. It's amazing we bounced back at all.
None. たまにはね、こういうゲームもあります。
Did for a living?
Wasn't he like a lumberjack?
可愛らしいゲームですね。
That's one way of putting it.
ね。
If wood was a canvas, and a carving knife was his paintbrush. Even after working a 50-hour week, even after his hands were more splinters
めっ
than
ちゃ綺麗よ
skin,
これ景色。
he would bring home the nicest piece of Alaskan weeping cedar and make me toys. That wooden train was the first toy I can remember, and I loved it. I just knew from a young age I was going to be a lumberjack, like my father. 感度がちょっと遅い。マジに死はいったな。あ、ある。なんかマイクラみたいな BGM だな、これ。眠くなっちゃう。いや。なんか置いてあるし。なんだ。チップス。聞いてもわかんない。 I feel like one of the main reasons people play small indie games is because they are so personal and intimate. So I tried to put myself into this game as much as possible. So almost all the vignettes or little stories you hear in this game, they come from my childhood. where I grew up in the middle of nowhere in central Virginia in the United States. So yeah, that's probably why I love games like this so much, where you explore this open, wide environment and just find interesting things, because that's exactly what I did as a kid.
Loading now. あ、急に。
My teenage years were full of sketching, angst, and trouble. I wasn't popular or unpopular. Maybe just forgettable. I guess that gave me a sense of freedom. So I hung out with crazy kids, doing crazy things, even though I mostly just watched the chaos ensue. We did it all. Put fireworks in mailboxes, hide roadkill in people's garages, break windows of the barber shop in Anchorage. My dad was furious, but he was so busy working he couldn't do much to stop me from going out.
I think being an adult means there's no one to stop you making hard decisions. He had to make a living, and he couldn't be in two places at once.
Yeah, I realize that now. But at the time, I was sure he was more interested in growing his business than what was going on with me.
どういうストーリー？人間だったのかな？あ、うわ、捕まった。
This is the level that I showed at PAX West, which was a crazy dream come true, that this hobby project was being shown next to all these amazing indie games. So I decided to show this level because it's smaller, there's like some jumping puzzles, and I thought it was a good entry into the game. But the one thing I can't seem to forget is right before we opened to the public, there was an indie dev superstar. Like, you've definitely heard of his games. And I was like terrified. He wanted to try it out. So I said, of course, like, please give me your feedback. And he was super nice, super talented, of course. But this embarrassing bug happened, which I'd never seen before in my life, where when he dug the item up, he jumped right after, and it created the dust cloud to permanently be on the rest of the level. It wouldn't turn off. So it looked like this fart cloud following the fox as it just kept running with this beautiful music and serious voiceover. And it was horrible. I think about that every time I look at this level. But, you know, I was able to fix it, so I'm glad someone could at least find that bug.
あ、そう。おー、え？ちょっと待って。 どっか
He was working another late night, and my friends were over, saying how bored they were and how they had come all the way out to my house for nothing. One of them mentioned how that old, ugly beyond belief truck was still in the garage, and how we should take it for a spin. I was only 15, so I kind of fought it for a while. The next thing I knew, we were careening around the mountain path, rocks spitting onto the sides of the cliff, while my dad's cringeworthy bluegrass blared out the speakers. I drove while my friends were in the back of that yellow and purple truck, throwing beer bottles and trash at anything remotely interesting. Felt like I was soaring in the air with borrowed wings. But all good things have endings. A cop outside of Eagle River pulled us over after he saw us in a bottle rocket into someone's yard. What followed was a long night of talking to disappointed adults and feeling smaller than ever.
だからパトカーがいる。
I always wanted this game to be very meditative and relaxing, but I know there's a balance between keeping the player's interest. So I added this butterfly jumping mechanic just to spice things up. I used a plugin called Playmaker for Unity, which in a visual editor lets you do interactive things, which is perfect for me because I do come from a film and design background. But on the flip side, I really wish I was good at code, because this the jumping mechanic in the whole game actually has frustrated a lot of players. But hopefully I've been able to fine-tune it, so it should feel a lot better now. I would just hate that this meditative game would get frustrating, so I've definitely I've lowered the gravity, I've made the jumps more consistent, so hopefully people can just focus on the world and the story.
あ、嘘だ。あー。めっちゃ綺麗よ。
After he drove me home from the police station, I blew up at him, saying how I never wanted to be like him, how I was gonna be someone and leave that hick icebox for good. He just looked forward at the road with tired eyes. I took out that bluegrass tape from the cassette deck and chucked it out the window. In my sage teenage wisdom, I thought I proved the ultimate point. But my dad had a different idea. He slammed the brakes, slowly bowed his head while gripping the steering wheel, and finally looked at me. All he said, like it was a polite request, was, "Make this right." I sat there in silence, fuming, but I eventually got out and combed every square inch of the woods, muttering profanity after profanity. I found it 30 minutes later, near a small waterfall off the road. I went back to the truck, put the wet tape back in, and sure enough, it worked. We didn't speak another word to each other the rest of the night.
Wow, I knew you were a crazy teenager, but...
It's hard to believe, isn't it? Surprises me too. It's like I didn't really know who that kid was back then. I bet my dad thought the same thing over and over. It's almost like he was saying, "Make this right," to himself, more than to me. You may have noticed there's a little pond here, and believe it or not, I tried everything I could to get swimming working in this game, and I just could not do it, unfortunately. And so all the water in this game you can just stand in, which is, it still like bums me out, but the systems were not working, it was buggy. So I just had to throw it out, which, you know, I think it's okay. Like, I wish it was there, but again, the focus of this game is on the story.
可愛らしいゲームですね。
同じコメント3連投稿する。 いけんのけよ。なんですごい。何謎の力だ。わかんねえな。来たはいいけど、結局なんもねえ。聞いてもわかんねえしよ。
My biggest hope for the players that are playing is that they realize how similar these two parallel stories are. Of this fox looking for her missing cubs, and also of this son reconnecting with his father. And so I try to add little touches in the voiceover and in the environment to help draw those parallels, even if they seem totally dissimilar. A big example is the truck, for instance, that Joseph grew up with. It's purple and yellow like the butterflies for this fox. So I tried to add as many touches like that throughout the story as possible.
Fox. 3つ集めろってことか。早く言って。
You may have noticed there's a
これいらん
little pond here, and believe it or not, I tried everything I could to get swimming working in this game, and I just could not do it, unfortunately. And so all the water in this game you can just stand in, which is, it still like bums me out, but the systems were not working, it was buggy. So I just had to throw it out, which, you know, I think it's okay. Like, I wish it was there, but again, the focus of this game is on the story. My friends would laugh about that night and talk about how crazy it was, and I laughed along, pretending it didn't bother me. But it did. I imagined my friends growing old in the bush, unable to find that thrill in those godforsaken ice fields. It's like those mountains were a literal wall, keeping me from leaving, where all I would have to look forward to are lumber yards and evening beers. I had to climb over. That was my only goal for a long time.
Oh, imagine. Severe だ。 れなかったし、よし。
If there was some way I could take my love of drawing and turn it into a way of escape, nothing would make me happier. I wanted to create instead of tearing trees down. I wanted to move to the lower 48, not because I hated it there in Alaska, but I hated the idea of it. It's like all of that spite inside me had created this monster which followed me around my whole teenage years. I put so much energy into doing what others didn't expect of me. Why did I do that?
There's one fact you're forgetting,
可
though.
愛らしいゲームです
If you
ね。
didn't have that fire in you, we probably would have never met.
なんか
You're absolutely right. Maybe the destination is all that matters in the end. But then why am I awake? Why am I seeing this fox go on her journey? And why can't I stop thinking about my dad?
1000円だよ、このゲーム。
何やってんの？
あ、バイオさん崩したら、ああ、ごめんなさい。いや、なんか指示できないからさ、なんか、前に動画で見た、なんか、キツネゲー、リリースされたって見たから、1000円で買ったわ。すごい。頑張れ。キツネ頑張れ。いけるいける。お、いけるいけるんじゃないそれ。お、おい。おう。おー。あ、来たはいいけどな。いけない。ゲームの威力だ。出た。力。バイオさん撤回してんだけど笑う。綺麗だな。まだ CG 回復せんのかな。え？何？死んだかと思った。
On our property, there were old abandoned pieces of a shed and car long left unused. I used to ask him all the time who those people were that left all this junk, and I'm sure he got so tired of hearing it that he made up some elaborate stories how a brown bear ate them and haunted the woods afterwards. What's funny is I think it made those people seem more real. Growing up thinking they were still hanging out like they couldn't say goodbye. I used to tell my friends how I could swear I saw spirits move near the water, and that always freaked them out. I guess it didn't bother me, because the way I saw it, they were normal people with old cars and sheds, just trying to figure out how to survive and be happy in the middle of nowhere. It was a cool thought that they didn't want to leave, but you know, I was a weird kid.
Well, you had good company since those ghosts like living in a place where they were brutally devoured.
most distant at the times when I detested him the most. He kept reaching out. For a year straight, he asked me every week when we were going camping. I thought he was just dense. Eventually, to shut him up, I agreed. We carried out the worn lawn chairs from the garage and set up a cinder block campfire at the site we'd always used behind the house. We walked down the mountain path, talking in the warm sunshine we only got a couple months of the year. Those 3 obsidian rocks shimmered alongside the shore, almost like sparklers pressed against a dark window. I'll never forget that wet stone on my feet, or how those massive mountains looked even bigger in the lake's reflection. I felt small, but grateful. As the sun set, my dad found something I hadn't seen for a long time. The tree where I'd made my first carving when I was 6. I hadn't even carved it. My dad had helped me, but I still called it my tree. Something about seeing my name there made me open up, and we talked about everything that night in that old camouflage tent. I told him how much I loved sketching and design, and how it would be a dream to study architecture in Seattle. I told him how I didn't get along with my friends much anymore, but that I didn't mind being alone. He told me he was there for me, and he joked that if all he had to do was write my name on a tree to finally get me to talk, he would have left me carved logs with novels on them in front of my room every morning. I don't know why it took me that long to realize it, but it was then I knew how much he had sacrificed for me. My dad built a lot of stuff in his free time. If he wasn't watching fly fishing or reading Tom Clancy novels, he was carving something. He made tons of birdhouses. Not that he was into bird watching, but I think he really missed working and adding on to the home. If he couldn't afford the time to build onto our own house, he would have to settle with watching birds move into their little homes. We kept an old mattress in the bed of that ugly yellow truck, so we would drive it deep into the woods and then watch the birds fly into their houses while the sun set. Usually it was accompanied by venison jerky or a cold Coke, but not a lot of talking, which is how we both liked it. We were happiest underneath the evergreens. We decided it was time to finally map out the hundreds of acres we lived on just to pass the time during the summer. He was only free in the evenings, so I would spend the day wasting time on dial-up internet and sketching, and then we would rush into the woods, pen and map in hand, before evening fell. Sometimes the aurora borealis would cast a cold green glow on the mountainside, and we would finish our route underneath a twilight sky. Sometimes I was lonely during those summer days, but there was comfort in the routine.
A lot of teenagers aren't looking for the daily grind, though. There's nothing wrong with wanting to get out, to leave your childhood home. You wanted to progress, to make something of yourself.
Yeah, you're right. That house. I'm sure it's the same as how I left it. But then why does it feel so different?
I doubt you're the only adult to have looked back and asked that question.
なんでジャンプしないの？
可愛いらしいゲームですねみ。
ああ、久しぶりに FPS 以外のゲームやったな。なんてこのゲーム音楽だぞ。 刺さった。特別何かがある。どこ行くの？いやー、わかんない。 ごい。ああ、やべえだろ、これ。そうですよ。なんで先登れた？なにこれ。知恵な。絶対知恵。わからん。
Earlier I said I just love going through video games and exploring, like looking at every nook and cranny and just trying to find little details. And I think that started because in middle school and high school, I would make mods for my favorite games, namely Jedi Knight, Jedi Outcast, and Far Cry. And I loved like this huge world of mod makers who would make these levels, and it'd be like the most random creative things, and I would just love exploring. Usually multiplayer levels by myself. So even though I went to college for film, before that, like before high school, I was making video games and mods, and it was my favorite thing in the world. I made a ton of different levels. I made an abandoned space hotel with a dance floor and cafeteria. I made a haunted campground with cabins and tents. I made this whole city with like the first ever day-night cycle with running showers and stuff in the hotel and the apartment buildings. And I just loved making those mods, and I think that carries over to my game, The First Tree, and also the one before that, Home is Where One Starts, which is it's exploration. You're just looking around and appreciating the details.
まさかのこっち側だった。
可愛らしいゲームですね。
可愛らしいゲームです。1000円です。でもちょっとナビゲーションがないから鬼畜です、これは。
The perpetrator stood nearby, unfazed, like nothing was wrong. My dad is dead, and he's never coming back, Rachel. I can tell you these stories, but I can never reminisce with him again. He can never hold a grandchild that we'll probably never be able to have. I can never talk to him again, and I'll never be able to say I'm sorry for everything. I need to go to bed. I just can't talk about this anymore. Good night.
Wait. Whoa.
Joseph, you can't go to sleep feeling like this. I'm sorry for everything, and I know you need space, but I'm here for you. You don't need to feel so lost. Joseph, have I ever told you what my mother was like? You know what it's like not to have a mom at home. And you know how hard that made my childhood. What helped me was watching the birds in the morning before the school bus came. I thought that my mother was one of those birds, and it made me want to be free like her. My mom taught me how to fold origami cranes while she was in the hospital. So I told myself I would fold one every day until I could fly myself. I think we both have always loved animals, and for me that love started with a dog. Sometimes this Rottweiler would come up to our property line and wait at the fence for me, but only once in a while. I was sure to check every day immediately after school, and it usually ended in disappointment. I would even steal money from my passed-out dad just so I could buy these off-brand dog biscuits. Even when she did stop by, she never went beyond the fence. Why was she so scared? I think my dad was the opposite of your dad in almost every way. Except he was in the military as well. He coped with alcohol of every kind. The trailer started falling apart, he got angry, and I withdrew. More and more I became the weird, quiet kid who made lots of origami birds and carried dog biscuits around. I think we were pretty similar when it came to being the weird kids. And that same sincerity in college was one of the reasons I was so drawn to you. one point, I really didn't think I could survive another day with my soul still intact. I had no real friends, let alone neighbors, since we lived in the middle of nowhere. I should have talked to my teacher, but I was scared what he would do if he found out. As I waited for the school bus one morning, I walked around until I found something in an abandoned shed. Something I can't put into words. I summoned courage I didn't know I had, and I broke into my dad's room and found the key to the shed where he had locked my bike. I'll never forget that feeling, of the wind rushing by my ears as the sun rose over fields of wheat. I was flying for the first time. I biked as far as my legs could take me until I found a house that felt friendly, and that felt like home. Those strangers helped me in so many ways. And if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have found my foster family. And if it wasn't for my parents, I wouldn't have met you. You have strength, Joseph, and you're not as alone as you think.
It's all just so pointless. Just waiting for life to happen. It's like having the home I always wanted is cursed out of my reach. The thought of being a parent myself. How could I do that when I couldn't even be a good son? I'm sorry. I know what you're saying. I just don't know how things will work out. These quiet hours will turn into years, and we'll wonder which roads passed us by.
Then we'll forge a new road together. Besides, I discovered for myself that one fateful morning where any hopeful road leads to. There may be thorns and mist, but it always leads to the same thing.
And what's that?
Family.
I'm so glad that you're part of my family, Rachel.
And I'm glad you're part of mine.
The fox knew her last cub would be waiting for her at the first tree. She was almost there. The rain cascaded onto the jade valley where the entrance to the tree was. Life was protected there, because that's where life began. It was now only a mother and a daughter left. Items from my life still dotted the ground as she moved closer to her destination and destiny. high school, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Drive. I looked into the best architecture schools on the West Coast, then got a dose of reality when looking at other students' portfolios and the high cost of tuition. I still wanted to be something, to be the next Alvaro Siza, and to make those thousands of sketches worth something in my grand history. But now even an internship sounds impossible. Siza helped me understand how essential emotion is in architecture, and he also said light is the real composer of space. I like to think these glints of light, like not finding a job or even a strange dream about a fox, are something I should be thankful for, even if the illuminated space is something I'm less than comfortable with. My dad was super supportive with my college plans, to a point. Things were okay until this terrible accident happened. I guess a forklift flipped over due to a bad axle, and it crushed one of the workers there. My dad didn't eat for days, even though he wasn't directly involved. It devastated him. Not only did it hurt the business, but it just freaked him out. He would talk in his sleep, muttering things about firing people and saying sorry. One fateful day he approached me, said that since my school search wasn't going well, I should finally be a man and take over the family business. He said one day he was going to die, and that all of his work, sacrifice, and even that man's life would be wasted in vain. I just lost it. Teenage me just exploded at the thought. I screwed up. I said things I shouldn't have. He was having a crisis, and I pretty much spit in his face.
合でいける。ああ、けど許してくれな。風の力によって阻まれる。あそこにも家がある。
病んでんのか？
病んでねえわ。キャンキ
病んでんのか？
ャン。いや、なんか始まった。待っとる。
敵倒しまたしか？
えなんて？
敵どこ？
敵おらんわ。そういうゲームちゃうぞ、これは。
したいうちはよ。
ゲーム間違ってませんかね。このゲームで下打ちとかまさになんも出ねえわ、キツネから。
おい、そこの家は行って盗め。
入りたかった。どこに行けばいいんだかわからんな。
このゲーム無料？
いや無料ではない。1000円。今日リリースされたらしいよ、 PS4 は。 PC はだいぶ前だけど。
ほえ。おもろいのか？
おもろいのかな。なんかでもまあ面白いんじゃない？なんかちょっとミステリアスなストーリーがあるし、多分なんかそのクリアした時になんかあーって納得するような雰囲気なゲーム。しかもなんか太陽とか絵もすごく綺麗だから割といいとは思うけど。
いやしげーってやつか。
まあそんなところじゃない？まあほっとしてイライラした時にこのゲームをやれってことや。
雨降ってて癒されるんか。
それは違う。それは違うね。でも雨の音リアルでいいけどね。いやさっきねすごい綺麗なところ行ったんだよ。なんか宇宙みたいな、すごい綺麗だった。もう一回行かねえかな。
Was that the last time you talked to him?
No,
もう
I
この
called
端
on
まぜん。
holidays, and he would call on my birthday.
俺ならなんでバイ
I
オハザード
guess
なん
we
だよって
acted
な
like
るわ。
nothing ever happened, which was stupid. Didn't want to ask about his lumberyard, and I'm sure he didn't want to ask about my job search. I never went back and visited. I think the last conversation we had was about what movies we had seen and what exactly a best boy is in the credits.
もうちょっとで雨終わると思う。
I thought he would be here so much longer.
俺ならなんでバイオハザードなんだよってなる。どういうことや。あ、そういうこと？病んでる。まさに病んでると。本当はやらなくていいよ。イライラするだけだもん。
性行為しないの？
は？
バイおっぱい。俺みたい。
やべえ。小学生並みのこと言ってる。バイオ。
ブロックはよ。
なんかなんか死んで、
In the distance, the first tree illuminated the wasteland. She couldn't go home anymore. She did the only thing she was capable of.
今日のお相手。
Moving
目の
forward.
前に相手がいて草。
My dad died alone in the middle of the wilderness. I should have been talking to him more. I should have done a lot of things differently.
草。
If the first tree on earth brought life with it, if it taught the birds to sing and fly and showed saplings how to grow, what could it do for
あ
us?
あ。死んでる。バイオさんが死んでる。めっちゃ悲しそうな頭下げてやる。
歩くさにやりやがった。おいけれ。
見ろこの落胆した顔を。てか、マジなんでこの子死んでんの？そう、2匹目もダメだったの。
俺らただの嵐で草。
それだ。ただの嵐だ。
したいとやろう。
やばいって。ほら、もう
ブロックはよ。
こんな悲しい雰囲気の時にだいぶ何言うか。頭下がってる。
やっぱやみそう。
やば。
したいとやるはパワーワード。
やめろよ、そのワード、マジで。やべえから、
There was a letter I received yesterday from a name I didn't recognize, with a quote I can't stop thinking about. Death is not the opposite of life,
その一部でや
but
る。
a part of it.
深いこと言ってま
More
す。
and
なん
more,
かもう終わり
I'm
そうだね。
realizing one important truth. Each of us have our own journey to the first tree. But sometimes I'm not sure I'm ready to take that first step.
You already have my love.
俺マジな話1回やってみたいが、死体も見たことないかと思ったらあるわ。バッドエンド GG。
バッドエンド言うな。でもあんまり内容長くないって書いてあったから。
あじ GG。
自分のこと何言ってたのか
飛び降りて死ぬのか。本当は死なないんだよ。多分。選択を間違ったんだ。
選択しねえんだけど。
あの時。マイナス、き、ん、う、で、ど。戦っておけば。
ちょっと待って、なんか問題出されたんだけど。最初の日は目を覚まし、子供たちに最後にご指導が伝えています。
チンテですね。
最初の日は目を覚まし、子供たちに最後にご指導が伝えています。ちょっと何これ、ちょっと難しい。なんだ最初の日は目を覚まし。
死ねって。
マジでさ、そういうこと絶対言うと思ったけどさ。自分の子供たちに死ねっていうのやばいでしょ。
それバッドエンドやから。
バッドエンドしかない。
俺は歩くアングリー、俺は怒っているって書いて。
やばすぎだろ。続ける。最初の木は目を覚まし、子供たちにキツネはこう答える。
さあ答えを聞こう。
あ、丸バツ逆か、これ。何これ。ちょっと待って。内容が入ってこなかったよ。なんか後半めっちゃ荒らしてたせいで。メッセージがあるからキツネらしくさせない。これちゃんと真面目に答えたらなんかあんのかな。
ワイおっぱいのせいだ。
ほんとそれなんだ
ブ
よ。
ロックはよ。
そのワードもだいぶパワーワードだけどな。
リュウグゲリのせい。
なんつった今。バイオパイって。
ワイおっぱいんぽ。
つなげる。
いやそれは草。
キツネ。
クソワロタ。
一度だけ伝えたいメッセージ、これはちょっときついね。笑っちゃうわ。どうすんだろうこれ。真面目に答えたらいいのかな。キツネに優しくさ。
死ぬ寸前にワイおっぱいってわら。
死ぬ寸前ってかもう死んでるかもしれない。
運営の人に届くんじゃね。
マジでさらされるんちゃうツイッターで。こいつ人外だっつ。どうしようこれ。伝えたいメッセージがある。
ああ、ワイおっぱいんぽって。俺が怒られるわ。
彼女。
ブロックはよ。
ブロックはよ。なんかそんな正解みたいなこと言ってたかな。あるか、キツネに優しくたず。
真面目に考えなさい。
真面目に考え真面目に考えたい。今までの会話で何かあったか。 子供たちに伝えたいこと。
アナルハングリー。
くさ。わかんない、これなんだ。やっぱバイオあれしかねえか。
イヤクサ。マジかよ、わら。2時間やって出た答えがワイおっぱいか。いいセンスだ。
最後の10分で出てきたパワーワードに全て消されたわ。ありがとうとか打っときゃいいんじゃね。
俺のキル集見ろって、わら。
なんか、物質で見たような気もする。一度だけ伝えたいメッセージが。
宣伝すな。
それな。宣伝すな。
ブロックはよ。
あるか。キツネに優しく尋ね、彼女はこう答える。
我らが天下の歩く様だぞ。パワーワードじゃねえからエロワードだから。
それな。がっつりな。まあ、これでいいんじゃね？ 115 分の5。あるかをキツネに優しく。これ私に最後に思いついたけどさ。
本当にそれでいいのか。
わかんない。でも多分こういうのは正解はないし、なんもないと思うけどな。間違えた。助けられ。
115文字までびっしり書こうぜ。稼ぐな。
稼ぐな。なんか、40時までしか売ってないんじゃないこれ。操作が下手くそすぎる。顔文字とか作れんかなこれ。
いや、わら。
いや、この顔文字な。破壊力。
死んで喜んでて草。
人道だ。人道。これ
サイコパス。
文を打つ動作はマジで難しい。操作が変わってる。あれなんだっけ。
歩くサイコパス説。
ネタじゃボケ。
ジャイロやりやすいよ。
ジャイロ、ああ、確かに。いっ
右スティックでリセットできるよ。
んリセットわかんない。
木が目を覚ましたって何？
多分最初のこの木なんじゃない？だからこのど真ん中にある木、その最後になんか近寄った木のことじゃね？最初の木。なんかこの答えによってなんかまたストーリー分岐とかあるんかな。なんか説はあるんだよな。これでいいか。さあどうなるんでしょうか。なんかコントローラーブルブルしとる。
I guess her journey was over. But I have no idea. It was only a dream. A distraction from tomorrow.
I don't think dreams normally bring back to memory so many important feelings. Maybe it was just a dream, but it was also a gift.
Yeah, I suppose.
ワープ。
But tomorrow we're getting on a plane to the last place on Earth I want to be. The only person that would have made the trip worth it is gone.
ワ
You're
ープ
going to
スター
see
でも呼
him
んだ
and。be with him one last time before you say
Harper.
goodbye. I have one last quote for you by Emerson, sealed in an imaginary letter from me to you. It is the secret of the world that all things subsist and do not die, but only retire a little from sight and afterward return again. Go to sleep, my love. We have a big day tomorrow, but I'll be there with you every step of the way.
Thank you. Thanks for listening. Good night, Rachel.
Good night, Joseph.
まだなんかあんのかな。ジョセフとレイチェルって何？
レイチェル。バイオでは化け物になる。
なるね。俺あいつと初めて戦った時マジ怖くて
まさか
嫌だった。
伏線。
いやそんなバカな。ゾンビギツネとかある？
第2章の始まりですね。
説はある。割と深いゲーム。ローディング長くね？とか言ったら一瞬で終わった。お、第2章だ。
多分ね、推測ジョセフとレイチェルの子供とか。レイチェルより運転手みたいなのが怖かった。
運転手？何これ？今度は人間？ あ、人間だ。第2章。どうしろというの？え？何？
人間だ。
人間だ。
人を探せ。
何これ？
したいうちわよ。
お、いた。あ、なんかホラーゲーみたいじゃねこれ。めっちゃホラーゲーみたい。ちょっと怖い。あ、電話出れるのか？出れない。めっちゃホラーゲーめっちゃホラーゲーじゃん。怖いね。
怖いぞ。来るぞ。
いやいや、来るぞとか言うな。さすがにはね、さすがに来ないでしょ。
バイオが来るぞ。
あ、バイオが来る。
やばいよやばいよ。
やばいよ、やばいよ。バイオッピーが来るよ。マジホラーゲー。開けられない。積んだ。積んだ。お、
来年の1月25日だったかな。その点からバイオにリメイク実況するから。
あー、出るね、あれ。
コメントあらつねハート。
綺麗。めっちゃ綺麗じゃない？景色めっちゃいいよ。
いいよ、襟を晒すから。
米嵐でさらされるって。あ、ジャンプできる。
探偵雇うぞ。
出たー。
M_M 大好き。ぶっちゃけ、あんなのやっても意味ないから。
探偵やっても意味ないってこと？てかいけないんだけど。GG。何これ？何したらいい？
普通になんか出てきそう。
ね、なんか向こうの方に立ってたりしてそうだよね。
後ろいそう。 スレンダーマン。
スレンダー。降りていけばいいのかな。ああ、多分こっちだな。近っと思った。入った。
What the hell?
待て。ほら、またなんか悲しい音楽流れてきた。足早え。砂浜。めっちゃ景色ええやん。やばいって、これ VR でやりたい。なんか切ないんだよな、音楽が。
マイクラみたい。
ね、なんか、そんな雰囲気。マイクラ FPS モードみたいな。なんか流れてきたって、悲しい。
クライマックスか。
ゆっくり。
What is this?
Like 書いてある。ああ、ちょっと待って。親子。 昇天したんだけど。
焦点は草。
昇天した。終わっちゃったよなんか。
あれ、終わったの。
昇天して終わりました。オンラインデータベースにコメントを提出したいですが、他のプレイヤーにならない表で。これさ、さっきのコメントじゃん、バイオピーやってたらバカ面白かったんじゃねこれ。提出したいって書いてあるけど。
どういうことやねん。
どういうことなんだろう。プレイヤーオンラインデータベースにコメントを提出したいですが、
ワイおっぱい、わら。
他のプレイヤーにはランダムに表示される可能性があります。可能であれば英語を使用し。あ、英語に翻訳されるんだ。じゃあ、バイオッピーなんて書くんだろう。普通にバイオッピーなのかな。まあ、はいにしておこう。はい。終わりました。
みんななんて答えたか気になる。
確かにね。
2周目はよ。
2周目する ?2 周目するか。戻る。いやー、何時間だ ?2 時間半ぐらいで終わったか。見せた。本当におっしゃった。2時間半1000円です。好きなコメントかけて最後に昇天できるよ。冒頭だけ見るか、バイオさんたち。始まりこんなんやったよね。
Are you awake? I thought I
字幕ねえし。
heard you get up.
Yeah, I'm awake. Sorry, I just can't sleep.
Are you
2
thinking
時間
about
30分
him?
1000円か。カラオケ
Yeah,
行こう
a
や。
bit. You should get back to sleep, my love. I'm fine.
No, it's okay. What else is on your mind?
時間30分1000安い。
I don't know. It seems weird,
安いじゃん。
but I had one of the most vivid dreams of my life. I saw a
結局どういうこ
fox
とだったの
on a snowy mountain,
あ
just
の
looking
人たち
confused and worried.
の夢を
Those
キツネ
eyes.
君が追いかけてる
I can't get those eyes out of my
全
head.
然わからん。
She was running in the windy snow, looking for something.
Do you think it has to do with you and what's been going on?
I don't know. It was
ジョ
just a
セフの
dream,
夢なの
Rachel.
か。
They're not meant to make sense. A lot's happened the past couple days, that's all.
それっぽいけどな。
Well, if you're not going to sleep anyway,
ジョセフた
you
ち
should
とこ
tell
の
me.
キツネ君がどういう
I
関
want
係
to
なのか
hear.
よくわからんけど。
All right.
So それを踏まえてもう一周って。あの二人はお父さんが亡くしたのかな。ほら、なんかもうここでいきなりね、なんか衝撃だったんだよ、なんか。
So, not far from her home, she followed that path to something unexpected.
子ギツネがね、死んでるんですよ。
She couldn't stay, though. She had to find her other two children. So she took that path. She followed it towards something ancient. Something with answers.
The タイトルが最初の木って書いてあるからな。
The fox looked high and low, searching for any sign of her cubs. Points of light showed the way to this ancient tree. It was as if each one had a story to tell, all their own. The land was trying to tell my story, too. I felt like I was right behind her the whole time.
キツネに生まれ変わって自分の記憶を追体験している。不思議ね。でも、あの子ギツネ一匹いて、他2匹って言ってたから、あともう1匹いないじゃん。これ、トロフィー見たらなんかわかるかな。コーチ、キャッチはファーストバニー。キングオブザラビッツ。150スターズ全然足んねえじゃん。An all main item in the game. Find a secret item. Joseph, find your name. Find your name again in camera. Final all 5 secret item. あ、これはトロフィー集めたいからもう一回やる羽目になりそうだ。全部アイテム見つけなきゃいけない。あ、俺絶対これ取ってなかったな。 あ、全然見つけてないアイテム多すぎるでしょ。割とやり込み要素ある。
Usually those kids would leave me alone, but somehow they could tell I was different. They made fun of how far away I lived. They called my dad a sourdough. I was a blabbermouth as a kid, telling my dad stories I made up for hours. But after that show and tell, I didn't tell him much anymore. He didn't know exactly what was wrong, but his best guess was that the toys he carved weren't cool enough. He carved me a tank and tried to tell me what it was like to be in a real tank as a serviceman.
I didn't know your dad was in the military.
Yeah, in the army. The sad thing is that I'd pretty much forgotten until just now. There's so much I still don't know about him.
I'm sorry. He knows how much you love him. You're going to see him again soon and have some closure, I'm sure.
older I got, the more I withdrew. I asked myself, why talk to anybody anyway? Why bother when I'm happy by myself? I started drawing a lot, mostly animals I saw in the woods by my home. I then imagined designing my own hideouts with things like TVs and pantries full of chips and cookies. I think that idea of leaving home and drawing blueprints started my career. I found a lot of solace in that.
I'm not surprised, but I did the same thing, you know? There's something special about having a place to call your own.
And now look at us. Well, if you count renting in an overpriced city.
It's as close as we can get for now.
ちょっはいやお前。嘘だ。あんまりないかなこれ。トロフィーじゃないか。めっちゃ取り逃してるよ。
dad did for a living?
Wasn't he like a lumberjack?
That's one way of putting it. If wood was a canvas, then a carving knife was his paintbrush. Even after working a 50-hour week, even after his hands were more splinters than skin, he would bring home the nicest piece of Alaskan weeping cedar and make me toys. That wooden train was the first toy I can remember, and I loved it. I just knew from a young age I was going to be a lumberjack, like my father.
謎はまだ続く。
なんかわからん。わかれる。
As a kid, did you ever do show and tell in your class?
Yeah, I think I only did it once. When I was in the 4th grade.
ああ、みちゃんね、
You know how my life was around then. I wanted to show my class what helped pass the time and distracted me. So I brought a dozen paper cranes I had made. I think I told everyone how badly I wanted to be a bird and fly, embarrassingly enough.
Don't be embarrassed. Every kid wants to fly. For me, it was another toy from my dad, a wooden boat. I remember guarding it so carefully in my hands as I walked into class. When I sat down, a group of boys immediately made fun of it. They asked which trash can I found it in, or why an ugly log was my favorite toy. When I got up, I didn't even want to tell them my dad had carved it. I said it was a joke gift my friends had given me.
Kids can be so cruel.
Some of them are. I shouldn't have let them get to me, but it did. It's amazing we bounced back at all.
Nah,
やっぱり2人の子が死んで夢になって出てきたみたいな。
ああ、そうなるのかな。女子フがリアルな夢を見たりするだから、この娘っ子がリアルな夢ってことかな。でも、ワンチャン、子供3人いる説あるんだよな。他2人って言ってたから、俺が見つけきれてないだけかもしれない。案外深いぞ。
深い話になってきた。 解明してね。
解明。でもなんか気になるから、暇な時やろうかな。他の人がどうコメントに答えたかなんか調べたら出てきそうだから、調べてこうかな。
1000はいいです。
このゲーム1000円で遊べるんですよ。慣れたらぜひこのゲームなんかないかな、これね。これのでさ、このゲームの怖いところってさ、マップ広いからさ、なんかないかなとかやってるとやべえ時間食うんだよ。そこがやばい。あ、バカ。
それはね、作者の罠。
巧妙すぎて。はい。なんかあそこの空き地、嘘行き過ぎた。ちょっと待って、ミスった。もういいや。気になって来てみたが、なんもない。ノート。これジョセフって書いてね。ジョセフノートだよ、これ。やべえ、マジで。
お、
終わらねえ、このゲーム。やべえって。戻ってきたな。もうない。もうない、さすがに。マップ広すぎるんだよ。よし。じゃあ、今日はここら辺で終わりにするか。